the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Good morning. Find the weapon here. I would entertain a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries. How about the minutes for the 23rd?
I've read through those, and unless somebody sees something that I didn't, they look fine, so I'd make a motion to approve the minutes from April 23rd.
We have a motion.
Second.
And a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. General public concerns? Being none, we'll put a check by that and move. Like, you might have to wait for Ben for minutes here. You got anything, Peggy, that we can...
You can discuss the weed spray expenses.
Yeah.
Eric, had me put that on there for
Yes,
you.
so this is weed, not brush, but weed, and,
So this is general ditches.
this is right-of-way ditches.
Roadways.
Then, let me grab the copy of this. From Don Reefer's company, Brush and Weed Specialist, Control Specialist. So we looked through this, Don was actually here, and this would be the entire, and I think I did mention this to you guys, that given the screwy weather, the
Right.
full county coverage, I mean, the entire mileage of the right-of-ways would be mostly fall application. It was set to be about half and half, and he said there's just, with the bad weather and everything, there's just, gonna have to be a late summer, early fall. And that's fine, he said that there's good control. But, be that as it may, it's still let's see here. Yeah, okay, so spring and fall. So the total estimate was $46,400. And we have a copy of that. I think Peggy has a copy. If we need to decide, do we want to go that route, being that most of that is fall application, which pushes it into next fiscal year, this one ends end of June, and we already have money set aside, we have to make the decision, do we say, okay, let's just go ahead and get the whole county treated by whenever, later summer, early fall, and then wherever Don comes in, then he's paid for that, or do we put a cap on it? That was his question to me. He says, I'm agreeable to whatever you guys come up with.
And I think you mentioned if we had some bad areas, he would come in and spot spray.
Correct, yes. It's obviously not gonna be something literally today, but
No.
early on, he
Early.
said, yes, if there's a egregious whatever, he said, that's not a problem. But he said, I just wanted to tell you, this original estimate, if you read through it, it says basically half spring, half fall. He said, I just have to tell you, that's gotta be all fall. But he said, yes, if there's a major, put out a fire thing, major outbreak of something, he says, we can get that handled over the summer.
And I do not have a copy of that one. I have the drainage ditch one, but not that one.
Okay, well, make sure, I think I have another copy, so I'll make sure you have a copy. So, we need to decide, and Don says, he's, worked with a lot of counties, a lot of years. He said, sometimes they just give him a number. They said, this is how much you can spend. And he said, sometimes it might be half the county, he said, sometimes I get over 3/4, sometimes I get it over the whole county. They said, I do a real good job up to the dollar amount I'm given. So...
What did we budget for that?
That was Eric's question too. We have some money left in this year's budget, not a huge amount. We have about $33,000 left in this year's. And then next year's budget, we didn't budget, knowing that we were gonna do this. So I didn't know if we could split it. If you wanted to do the whole thing, we could pay part of it out of this year, part out of next year. Or we could amend either this year's budget or next year's budget to pull that money in there to pay it all in one fiscal year, just...
What if we did the 33 that we have? That should give us a pretty good idea as to where, would that get us a little over half the the county, wouldn't it?
It would.
But if we have
Theoretically.
an idea as to 33,
Get it started.
we're only needing about 13 more to do the rest of the county per his bid,
Mhm.
we'd be able to say, well, this, that 13 is gonna make it, or we're gonna be under, or we're, I mean, that's an option anyway.
You know, someone got on and say, you should do the fall spraying anyway. I'd like to see us go ahead and do the whole county. You're gonna get rid of your thistles that way for sure. And let him spot spray the bad places, if he can't get to that in the whole county.
Well,
I think we've-
I agree with you, I'm just saying, Peggy has 33,000 on,
Where's the money
that we
from?
have for this year. If we, but by using that 33, he's already gonna know what, you know, over half the county looks like by
Mhm.
spraying that.
Right.
And then we can just say, well, let's just keep going and get the rest of it done, and it's gonna be like 13 more that we'd have to pull from next year's budget to,
And then we'll just tell him to bill us for up to 33,000 in this year, and then bill us the rest. for next
But,
year.
I mean, I gotta get my mind around fiscal years, which does end of June, correct?
Mhm.
So you'd have to roll that money in till next year, basically.
We could do that,
I don't-
just amend the budget next year and put the money
That's
on
where I
next year.
came up with, because I don't think, we're not gonna see a bill for
Till
weed
fall.
control in this fiscal year. It's gonna be after June 30th, for sure, 'cause he won't do anything till
Yeah, you won't
after
do
that.
nothing till after that.
So that was the point. I think we have that, we know how much money we have sitting there.
Mhm.
Can we just move that to,
And it doesn't stay in the weed commissioner budget going after the fiscal year. It'll stay in rural services, and then we just have to amend rural services, put it back in the
but
weed
to
commissioner.
Bruce's point, I mean, try to keep this, not make it any more complicated than it has to be. We have 33 to start with. If
Yep.
we wrote him a check this week, but it means it goes into next fiscal year, like you said, Bruce, we only, per his estimated quote, we only have another 13,000 or so that would cover this quote. So, we really wouldn't, you know,
they're gonna be too far out of whack, but...
No, it shouldn't
the other side of
be.
the point is, he's gonna have part of the county already spotted or sprayed, and he'd be able to say, well, the way it's running now, you're probably gonna need all that 46, or we might be a little short because of the fact that there isn't that much spraying.
well, the only thing is, he probably won't be able to tell us that until very late in the summer, you know, it could be the September timeframe, which puts us into the next fiscal year,
Right.
so.
You guys make up your mind, I don't...
Yeah.
I guess when I looked at it, knowing, after talking with Don, that we're not gonna pay him by the end of June, and we take that money and just, like you said, Peggy said it, we have it, you have to just put it back in where it belongs.
Put it back in and then transfer it back over.
That we just go, I would recommend that we just go with the quote, sign off on this, and we have the whole county covered, because I think we do have the funds to cover it, when we pay them in.
And do a full county, full
Yeah,
application.
just tell him, yeah, 'cause we already know that's, like you said, he will cover any outbreaks, that's not a problem, he said, we can handle that, but he said, I just want you to know, the original estimate quote in front of us, or me in here, he said it said half spring, half fall, he says, it just, the half spring's just not gonna work this year. He said, we're gonna have to go to all fall, but he said, I can guarantee I can cover the fall application, the entire county. And he said, so, and the money didn't change. I would recommend we go that route, 'cause I don't think we're putting a financial hardship with that extra money. I wanna call it carryover from this year to next. We're not gonna add a lot, like Bruce said, we're not gonna add a lot to that for the full coverage.
Do you want me to put that on next week's agenda for approval then?
Yes.
Because we didn't put approval on here.
Yeah, let's put that on for
Okay.
approval to...
Let me-
While we're talking about this.
Does that, I mean,
That makes
sense
to me.
It, because it pushes it into another fiscal year, and then I think getting the full coverage, and as you guys know, having dealt with Don on the brush control, hopefully, this is an estimate, and he says, I don't play games with anybody, he said, you know, it could be, if we use a lot of spray and we use a lot of product, but as you know, on the brush control, using that as an example, it usually comes in less when he submits the final bill.
Yeah.
So we're hoping,
And
we're
also,
hoping
I think if you get on a program, it'll get less and less every year.
still get a lot less.
good try.
We can start with that now,
Yeah, let's
this
put it
year.
on next week's budget for approval. and-
Okay.
So, anyway, that's the story on that, so
Okay.
should be able to just move forward with it.
Agenda.
I see Ben made it. You're all right, come on up, we're ready. We just jumped down, we were a couple minutes early. We got the media's, all their questions handled real quick this morning.
They beat us up bad this morning.
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 This is, that's all we've ever got, so that's what we're working
We
on.
had a new,
Okay, you have a copy?
I have a
milling
copy.
machine
Okay.
delivered, and
I have to
they
too,
were
so
in
Oh,
the city, and got
he's very good about
cables,
doing
This was
all the
original.
bugs are out of the milling operation down there on C 49. What they think is one of the cables had a kink in it, that was messing with the signal back and forth between the satellite and everything, so every now and then it would pick up and then, go deep and then pop back up, so you'd have a little.
Oh, it
bump that you would
wasn't
feel.
milling level, huh?
Yeah, it wasn't a smooth transition. A lot of times they were backing up, 50 feet and then milling back through again to get to the right height. But, all of that's running fine. They're gonna run a half day tomorrow, and then they gotta pick up and go to Lamar's for a short job. But talking to them this morning, if it's raining, they can't run the mill anyway, because the laser sight back and forth doesn't work, so if we get the Tuesday, Wednesday, possibly Thursday rain.
What if they take that bad mill over to Lamar's and we'll keep the good one?
The bad mill is gone. I think that is over at Lamar's.
I saw it sitting out there, I drove it out. I don't-
Evidently, local traffic, they've been having people say they can still drive it, get to the house.
You can
They're
still, you
happy.
can still be on it right now.
Everybody's
but
happy.
A majority of the traffic has rerouted, I mean, the truck
Yeah.
traffic.
Locals still get there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but the locals are still out
Yeah.
on it right now.
Are those our, signs, or those
No,
ones?
those are your, Iowa Plains sign.
I see somebody hit,
There's one
Couple of them.
laying down, I think they're supposed to be up here today to replace
I
those.
couldn't tell if it was a implement that hit it going around that corner, or someone just slammed into it right there at that intersection.
Yeah, was it, Jackson?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I didn't see any car parts laying there, that's why. Oh, well. So what do you got?
I believe the first thing that we got is, approving the rewrite of resolution, which is now, Peggy, you'll have to help me with the number,
2018-8.
2018-8. What this is the resolution that addresses how the county will handle work within the right-of-way with regards to tile crossings under the roadway. I know we talked about this last week, and I think the week before. This is basically a summary of those 2 weeks that says that Humboldt County, agrees to pay a maximum of $1,500 towards the crossing of a granular surface roadway, and they will also pay 50% up to $5,000 towards the cost of boring underneath the paved surface roadway. This cleans up the language of what we had before, where we followed, Iowa Code 468, where you filed a petition, downstream property owners, had a right to file for damages. You had to hire an engineer to do a drainage assessment to determine if what was under the road was large enough for the acres that were being drained currently. In other words, whether or not you actually needed a 12-inch or a 5-inch was good enough. There was quite a few more steps. What this does is basically simplify it down, and follows what some of the surrounding counties are doing with regards to cost. I guess it's my recommendation that we switch our resolution to this 2018-8, and adopt this as our tiling policy under the roadway.
Well, I'll make that motion to adopt resolution 2018-8.
Second that.
We have a motion and a second to adopt 2018-8. Any other
I
discussion?
think we had good discussion of that a week ago, and so it looks like the best thing for everybody.
Mhm.
I think it's a good move.
Anything else? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Right above your name.
The, next item, or, kind of the item that stemmed this is to approve an application to work in Humboldt County's right-of-way to do a boring underneath 130th Street by Renwick, for Kent Oberg, and subsequently request 50% of the cost, up to $5,000 for this boring.
I think we also had the discussion on that, along with all this, correct? Is there anything new on that,
No, nothing's new on that. I need to see the detailed estimate from Harold, but I believe his cost was in the $12,000 to $13,000 range. So what would happen following the resolution is, we would approve this, and then once we get confirmation from the contractor that he's been paid by Harold or Kent Oberg for doing the boring, we would reimburse Oberg, or we've also, paid the contractor the $5,000 directly, and then he just takes it off of the bill. I'm sorry, the $1,500, this would be the first $5,000, but we've paid the contractor the $1,500 directly, and then he just takes that off of his bill that he sends to the farmer.
Does that, sounds like that makes a little more sense to potentially pay the contractor,
We've
whichever
done
amount.
both, yeah. It's just which way the farmer wants it, do you want a bigger check off, or a check for...
I would say let the farmers pay it, then we reimburse the farmers. Have that policy, that way the bill's been paid. And you don't pay our part, and then the contractor doesn't get paid for the other part, and then we have a big...
No, well, that's what I say, that's why I asked what the better route to go on that would
And I
be.
think that'd be the best policy to...
So if the contractor's going after somebody, he's going after the farmer.
Yeah.
I mean, worst case scenario.
Well, so we're out of it.
Yeah, 'cause we said we agreeable, then checked everything out, that was all right.
So
He
we'll
got
pay-
the cost,
so
pay the
we'll
farmer.
pay the farmer
After their bill's paid,
he's paid the bill.
after the contractor shows...
That's what I was getting at, is so that if there's any issue,
Mm-hmm.
takes that out of it.
I'd move we approve the request from Kent Holmberg to work in the right of way as presented.
Do a motion
I'll second that.
and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
This is a
Opposed,
copy for
same
you
sign.
guys. So you'll have one for your file.
Motion carried.
The last thing that I've got is to approve a quote with Chuck Fritzen Inc. for our 2018 bridge inspection. I don't believe you have the total on there, I just gave you guys a cover sheet. The total is roughly $21,000. That is for inspecting 77 Humboldt County bridges, as well as 16 structures that look and smell like a bridge, but basically measuring just under that 20-foot long. They used to be on our inspection list, but they haven't been inspected in probably, I'd say 20 years. Most of them fell off in the mid-90s. We've inspected them, but we haven't had a certified bridge inspector inspect them. So with that, talking to him, what he's done for quite a few other counties is he puts them on like a 5-year rotation instead of every 2 years. He just comes by every 2 years and looks at those 16 that we've got in the county.
Bridges have to be done every 24 months, right?
Bridges have to be done every 24 months, yes.
So this is the same gentleman company we've been using?
This is the same one that we've been using for the past 8-10 years, I think.
So they're familiar with,
Yeah, and Joe's been very good to work with. We've called him when it comes to any questions with our bridges, whether it's an overload truck that wants to try and get to the quarry, you know, and has to go over a bridge, he'll do a load rating calculation for us. I mean, they're a good company.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the 2018 bridge inspection proposal for Chuck Britson.
we have a motion
I'll second that motion.
and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion carries.
It's a bridge over 20
DOT classified a bridge anything over 20 feet. And what we've got is, there's 15, 16 bridges out there that measure in just under 20 feet. And back in the late 80s, early 90s, that's when they classified them as 20 foot, and anything that fell just under that, they took off of the, bridge index, so you don't get
Credit for it.
you don't get credit for them.
Watch what I wrote down on it. That sounds right. Bridge gotta be longer than that.
Yep.
Okay.
All right, well, while you're here, we're going to approve the transfers for the secondary roads.
And the only one I had enough money to do is the lost money.
The lost money.
So I'll do a transfer later on in May with the rest of the rural services
Oh.
transfer and the general basic transfer.
Okay.
I figured them out, and if I did a partial transfer now, I'd still have to do another one at the end of May, so I thought I'll just wait and do it all
Okay,
at the same time. But I do have enough money in the lost fund to do that for you.
okay.
So with that, we'll need a motion.
I'd move we transfer the lost funds to the secondary roads as indicated, $275,000.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? That's kind of an oxymoron, isn't it, with the lost funds? Like
Yeah, I know, like they're lost somewhere, yeah.
Yeah.
Local option sales tax, you
There you
should
go.
say.
I always thought that was a funny acronym.
That's lost.
They're just
We lost.
lost somewhere, yeah.
Lost the funds.
We put that 275 towards, the double box culvert that we put in over on Kansas Avenue by Larry Lane's place.
Okay. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries, we found it. Anything else, Ben?
Ziegler dropped off a 12M3
I thought I'd
demo
seen a
machine.
different colored machine sitting there the other day.
Yep, so, they're dropping that off for a week for a couple of our maintainer operators to test out and put through the paces. It's, what they say is comparable to Deere's 772, so. Usually we get demos in the summertime for the guys to check out the new machinery.
Are we gonna,
In fiscal year 19, we've got 2 patrols set up for purchase.
It'd be like a farmer now, you'll run it around the clock for 5 days.
We'll try it.
Good, by all means,
Yeah.
by all means.
Are we gonna
Definitely
get
wanna put it through the ringer.
some of the other guys from the other shops down here, did they get it up there, or what's?
Not at this time. The 2 new machines are scheduled to be, going to Mike Mayall and Steve Illig, so for the time being, those 2 are gonna be the ones that test the new machinery out. If we do end up purchasing, Caterpillar, then we will bring everybody in to train them to run the equipment. But at this point, since we only have it for a limited time, I want the 2 guys that are gonna end up getting them to be the ones that put it through the paces, make sure that it can handle all of their roads.
Okay, good.
All right. Anything else from you?
No more snow, right?
No more snow, no.
Okay, we appreciate it, thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Ben.
Thanks, Ben.
Have a little bit of time here for
Lease
before
on,
9 o'clock. when we go to drainage,
Animal control
we
leash.
could go to the animal control on that lease. Approve the lease for the county animal control building. Do you have a copy of that, or was that the same one?
It was last week.
That's what I thought.
I didn't give you another copy because I thought you had.
That's fine.
But the changes that they made were the changes that we asked for, that it be in the name of Humboldt County.
Took the Dean off it.
Mm-hmm, yep. And then just put Humboldt County as the signer at the end, so.
So that,
Those were the only
is that
changes
for
we
a
asked.
full year then?
I think it goes month to month.
Month to month, that's what I wondered, is
In
the
case that's
Case
sold.
case
sold.
sold.
Mhm.
Any other questions, comments?
I'll make a motion to approve the building lease with Denise Johnson.
We have a motion?
I'll second Dave's
and a
motion.
second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign,
Well, sign over here then.
motion carries. And I guess I would publicly like to thank her for her willingness to allow us to put it out there in that facility until we figure out what we're gonna do with it.
I think Dave's got a lot of legwork on his too, thank you.
Yeah,
While we're on that subject, we got a few minutes. We instructed Mary not to pick up other animals besides domestic. She's been called on possums, coons, deer, all kinds of odd stuff. And she got called the other night here, well, it's been a week or so ago, a couple of weeks. Guess there was an accident, and there was a dog left in the vehicle, and she got called to come and take that. And there's no need for her to come all the way in town when the deputy could take the animal and put it in the kennel for the next morning, so she'd have it there. So somebody in the family could get it, so we instructed her to do that instead of coming all the way in, but, I don't think she's got the capability to handle, raccoons and possums and beavers, and she's been called on all kinds of stuff, so,
Yeah, I agree with that, Dave.
no, we probably don't want her.
no.
No.
No, so, at the, animal meeting the other night, they discussed it, we had one city council member there, plus Travis. Dean wasn't there, but, we discussed it amongst the committee, and between myself and Travis and Joel, we said no. She's only to pick up domestic animals,
Makes sense to me.
so.
Okay. Kind of in limbo,
9:00.
close to 9, and you don't have any short fillers, Peggy?
I could mention to you that I did check with the clerk of court's office. If we need the magistrate courtroom next week for our public
Okay.
hearing on the ordinance, we can move down there.
Good.
Providing there's not anything, there's nothing on the schedule right now, but she said if something comes up, we'd have to move back up here.
Well, we visited, we're gonna plan on doing our agenda and get our claims and stuff done, right? Next week, we have
Mhm.
claims.
Yeah, we were
We'll get all
gonna
that
schedule it for
stuff,
one of the
do it,
last things, is what you
And
wanted.
then we can move to the basin if need be. If not, we can do it right here, but we'll get our general meeting pretty much wrapped up and then go from there.
Sounds good.
So, according to this clock here, it's 9:00, so if we get a motion to move to drainage,
I'll make a motion to move into drainage.
we have a motion,
Second that.
and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, motion is carried. Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, now you're ready.
Who needs coffee, anybody? Bruce, you need, Rick?
Sounds like it's still perking though.
Kent always wants coffee. It's not done yet, Kent, you're gonna have to wait. It's pretty clear.
Mine's pretty clear. Rick?
Morning.
Morning, Mr. Hopper.
Hello. Fucking it's drying out.
Yeah.
Where?
Any planters running up that far north?
Nope. Road ditches there's some road ditches we still have a little snow in, believe it or not.
Noticed that yesterday.
Yeah.
Or yesterday.
Couldn't believe it.
Well, late in the afternoon, Saturday, there was some south of town, I went to Fort Dodge and down around Badger, they all of a sudden, about 4 o'clock, some of that bean around it drying, and then they started planting right away, and then I talked to a guy from Laverne yesterday, and he said, still a couple of snow piles up there, but a couple of people were getting antsy to dry.
Yeah.
The corn ground still is stocked, I'm sure it's holding some of that moisture.
Oh, I'm sure. I think I saw 3 outfits running on my way down, just north of town.
Yeah, they're starting to run around here. a little
Amazing
bit.
how it can be wet and the dust flies.
Yeah.
I know, isn't that crazy? That's our little road is in our development.
Welcome to the jungle.
Lots of ponds up that way.
Yeah. Yeah, the news is talking about that all the time now. So,
Morning, Bob.
It's way out of a bank.
You switch
Yeah.
corners?
I got surprised with all that snow melt, how much the river came up.
Wow.
Ridge View.
Oh, it's really,
It's way up.
yeah.
It's out of the bank's almost down to the ridge.
Yeah.
I did see that, the other day I went over to Eagle Grove and to that Udmo meeting, and I see that they were trying to pound some pilings in out here, so I don't know if they're trying to get the water diverted.
Yeah, they got that most of the way, the one pier anyway. I don't know how many piers are going in that bridge, if it's 2 or what, but...
Huh.
You got it work?
The way that water's still rumbling through there pretty good, that'd be
Makes it
awful hard.
challenging, I'm sure.
So we're on lateral 2.
Yes.
2M.
Excuse me, number, drainage district 2, lateral M,
Yep, that's one Holland did, those Piper's ground out there.
west of town.
Yep. This is the appraisal report, which is basically paying for the right-of-way. And what I wanted to go over briefly with you is how the appraisers and I came up with a new formula for figuring the temporary easement, basically the compaction effect, crop loss effect. The first year, they have a right to ask for complete loss if we destroy the crop as part of the project. But then the next year after the construction, we figured a 60% loss, and then we graduated it down for a total effect for 5 years. 60 year 1, 40 year 2, 25 year 3, 15 year 4, and 10 year 5.
What was the last?
10% on year 5. This is something I came up with Pat Hill and Brent Keenest, 2 active farmers who have been through some of this. We used to have a fair amount less than this, but I've heard from other people too that see the effect go on for more than 2 or 3 years. So I figured it at $3.50 a bushel, 225 bushels per acre, and then the percentages that I mentioned, 60, 40, 25, 15, and 10. On the last page of the appraisal report, in the right portion of, towards the right end of the page, you have the acres and temporary right-of-way, the appraised costs, and that's $1,181 per acre allows for 5-year effect on crop production.
So, I have a question. Do they have to sign or come in for the next 5 years and show
Nope.
that, or are they just gonna, that's automatically gonna kick it out?
It's gonna take care of that up front. Now, I have something that I hope can be addressed at IDDA. How do you handle it with a tenant? I talked to Gary Jensen late last week. He's renting some ground out here now.
Because this goes to the landowner.
Yes.
That's the problem.
Yes.
That we run into.
Yes, and sometimes the rentals are only for a year at a time. So Gary really Jen shouldn't get the whole thing if he only
Farmed it for a
farmed
year?
it for a year. So how do you get the landlord to?
Understand that
Yeah.
and to do
We went
that.
through this a little bit a few years ago, and I don't know that anything was really resolved, but,
I don't know how you can do
Especially
that.
if somebody lives in California.
well, yeah, that's right. And you don't know who has the rental, well, you might happen to know who's renting the ground, but you don't have access to their rental agreement or anything to know
You don't know if
for
they're
sure.
sharecrop or if they're
Yeah,
cash rent or what.
so that's, I was trying to.
So you almost gotta stick with this system that we have, 'cause
It really falls back on the agreement and communication with the landlord-tenant.
Yes, correct.
Mhm.
Yes, that's a good
I
statement.
mean, like you said, Rick, if, generally, you know, not always, who is the tenant,
Right,
Well,
and about the best that anyone could do would be to mention to the tenant to have a valid discussion with their landlord if they have a, you know, and this is basically over 5 years now.
yes, yes,
So that they can have the communication and the discussion with the landlord
yes.
to make it an agreeable,
Yes.
I mean,
And with the cash rent that mostly is done, that loss should really go to the tenant. But,
That's right.
yeah, you have to rely on the relationship with the tenant.
well, I'd say the best you can do is make sure that the tenant is aware this is how it is.
Yeah.
The landowner obviously is gonna get, if you wanna call this damages,
Mhm.
for projects. They need to be in discussion with them to alter whatever agreements,
There you
because
go.
just like a lot of other things in drainage, it is always landowner.
Yeah, that's the only legal means you have. You have proof who owns it, their legal description, everything. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have past the legality things, who farms it.
Right,
And it's, yeah, and so we can publicly say we feel for and understand the tenant's side of it, but
Mhm.
if they're aware of it, that's about the best, you know.
Yeah.
We hope they are, we hope they have a good relationship agreement with the landowners.
and we'll have a hearing
Make it
on this
equitable.
report, and we can talk about that at that hearing. Just to emphasize that the only thing you can do is pay the landowner, and then it's their obligation to reimburse the tenant.
All right.
Correct.
So I have one other question,
Yeah.
that's figured on a corn?
Yeah,
What do you do if you have $10 beans that every other year you
well, that's,
probably don't wanna open that up? or-
no, this, I figured $3.50 was a reasonable,
I was gonna say, that's...
It is today.
today it's a good price, I think, for corn. We just had to pick one or the other and go with it,
Yeah.
basically. 'Cause you don't know what the...
Just a cash payment, a cash payment, no matter what, you plant hay if you want to.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right, that's true. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So, yeah, this,
And even if this tile would go through CRP acres, that's the amount they get paid.
right, yes.
So, it's,
You have to come up with...
You gotta come up with something.
I think your 5-year plan, if you will, is more fair, and I think that, I do commend the commissioners that you work with for thinking through that. So the damage part of it, if you will, spread out over 5 instead of 3, is more equitable.
I think it is, I really do. Yeah, I didn't hesitate at all when they suggested that.
So the landowner gets a one lump sum payment based on that formula?
Yes, correct. They also get paid for the permanent easement, that's 30 foot wide over the top of the pipe. And that's at $2,500 an acre. Several years ago, I had a professional appraiser say that the DOT uses a third to a fourth of the land value for a permanent easement value. So that's how we arrived at $2,500 an acre for the permanent part. And that's just 30 feet over the top of the pipe. So, and then, yeah, you'll have to schedule a hearing for this, and Trish has some suggestions on how to handle these.
Well, we'll listen to Trish's suggestions.
yeah.
What you thinking there?
Meow.
Is this the 40 day, or what's the...
Yep,
Yeah, I'm still thinking June 11th.
Didn't we have discussion on that last week to try to make this coincide? And I had blank places to fill in June 11th for this
yes,
hearing.
correct.
9 o'clock.
So what you'd be doing is, you'd schedule the appraisal hearing at 9, and then you have the reclass hearing immediately following.
Unless we wanna give a little smidge more time.
Say that again, Rick? Which was first?
The appraisal report first, and then the reclass. And I've got the reclass.
We got
put out there.
annexation 3 at 9:15.
Mhm.
Yeah, we already have 9:15, 9:45, and 10:15 as hearings.
3 and 47 at 9:45.
Well, either one of those take very much time.
No, it'll go quick.
10 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart.
This one is 8:50 for the appraiser's report. I don't know, it's up to you.
Whatever you guys think we can, I'm just here to mess up my book and start scratching it
Get the white out.
You wanna do 9, if you think we can make it work at 9, or you wanna go 8:50?
I think 8:50 might be better. I think the reclasses are gonna take a little more than, I know they'll take more than the appraisal, and more than the annexation.
DD number 2,
I move we accept Fraser report and set the hearing for June 11th at 8:50.
I'll second that.
we have DD number 2, lateral M, appraisals report, and what was the other? Reclass, excuse me, at 8:50.
Well,
No, just first
let's
one.
wait on the reclass, I'm gonna give you a
Okay.
sheet for that.
All right. So we accept that then at 8:50? Is that what you want to do?
That's hearing, correct?
Hearing?
Yeah.
Hearing
Bring on the appraisal.
for DD number
Appraisal.
2.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. 8:50 it is. Lateral M.
Reclassification report. Now we get into big stuff.
Yes, this at least is a small area, as you can see, I'm just giving you one page. Very unusual for that to happen. This is to cover the construction cost and engineering and publication and interest and everything else, so. The total I spread here to give the commissioners something to look at was $90,000. This was a ag wall closure project, so there was state money involved, that got the cost down to $90,000. Average cost came out $222 an acre. There were 2 or 3 properties right next to the ditch that we could have put some benefit on, but I didn't think it made any sense, and the commissioners agreed. Between the gravel road and the ditch, there's just, I don't know, a couple hundred feet. They can tile right into the ditch so easy, that we figured there was no benefit, so we didn't include them on here. This is basically everybody north of the gravel road, drains into the watershed. The average cost came out in line with how we'd estimated originally before the project started. We used the soils, there was not a lot of what were proximity factor, whether if there's some distance from the improvements, we do some reduction. There was very little of that in this mostly fell in the soils category. The report was signed and submitted, and we're asking you to set a hearing for this also. Glad to answer any questions.
You can try to do that the same day?
Do that at 9 o'clock with me,
Mhm.
I would think it would.
Yeah, I don't think the appraisal report's gonna take long at all.
Well, I move we set the reclassification report for District 2, number 2 extension for 9 o'clock on June 11th.
What date?
June 11th, June 11th. 9 a.m.
You have a motion to set the reclass at 9 AM on the 11th.
Second that.
And a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carried.
Rick, remember we had a slight discussion on some of this, and this is the actual district we discussed. Is there any way that this business can be done ahead of time versus after the fact? That project is done, well done, and we're fiddling around with this stuff.
Yeah, this is one, yeah, like the appraisal report, yeah, that easily could have been done sooner.
Okay,
And what I'd like to do is kinda do a summary, maybe monthly with you guys, as far as where we stand on each project and the status of each report.
mhm,
Yeah, the appraisal one is one that kinda gets set aside at times, and there's no reason it needs to, because it's a very straightforward report and does not take long to do. So, yeah.
same way with the reclassification.
Yes.
Is there any reason that it couldn't be done at the start of the project versus at the end of it?
No, I guess, yeah, it could be. If there's a significant change in the project, which rarely happens, it might affect the reclass, but once you get the bid...
Annexations cause that,
Yes,
that's the reclass.
yes, they can. And usually what happens is we find the annexation areas when we're working on the reclass.
Mhm.
So,
Goes a little bit hand in hand, and the gist of all this is, if there's, we don't want some technicality, I mean, this is something that has to be done.
right,
We wanna get it done,
Yep.
but we don't want this slowing down how quickly can that project be levied to the
Right.
folks involved.
Correct.
So this project is, and I'm not saying as we sit with DD number 2, lateral M, that it could have been levied in March, but moving forward, if we can do this stuff sooner than later,
yep,
and that can be done, and as the project's completed, depending upon the date of that,
yep,
we want to, because we've vowed to move things quickly, and that's the best we can do. We levy twice a year, and if we can keep the process moving along, let's put this towards the beginning of it, not the end of it. We don't want this holding up the levy being an issue.
right. And then that can easily be taken care of by just, I'd say, monthly updates on where each report stands. What stage is the construction at? When would it be timely to get each report in? And
Absolutely,
work in that schedule.
yes.
Just 10 minutes once a month, or 15 minutes, we could all be on the same page.
Well, we need to be on the same page, and we don't want something falling through the cracks that
Right.
delays, because this project, as we speak of the District Number 2 lateral M, it's a good project, well
Oh,
done.
absolutely.
Did what it had to do to close that ag well,
Yep.
so that's no issue there.
No.
And I'm not saying we could've done much there, but, like you said, just moving forward, where we keep up to speed on this, and we don't let stuff lollygag itself towards the end of the project, and that's all we're waiting for, because there's a lot of time, we're talking about June 11th.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this at the beginning of the project.
Yep.
Well, the project's still going on.
Absolutely. And I mentioned to you, we do an in-house summary of where projects stand and it's revised every 4 to 6 weeks. So that'd be a great reference for me to use with you,
Right.
on where these all stand, so.
So I just thought that'd be a good time to bring this up and do what we have to do, because we have to do it,
Yep.
and sooner than later.
Yeah, if we got anything before June 11th, that'd be a good time to update you on everything.
Yes, where everything else
Yeah.
is at, project-wise.
Yep, absolutely, so.
All right, we're now, got number 3 in front of you.
A lot more to this one because it's so big.
And towns involved again.
Yes. 190,000 is what we spread on it. You can see the average cost per acre is typically less than $20. The town stuff, the cost per acre looks higher, like I'm looking at one at $7.15. but their total levy is 51 cents.
Yeah, more effort
Yeah,
than what you recoup.
so Trish should be billing them the minimum,
$5.
$5, is what happens on any of them.
How do we build a conservation department? Same way you build roads,
Secondary roads?
same way you do it?
Yeah. So, yeah,
That
costs are in
reminds me.
line with where we thought we'd be.
Mm,
Same general procedure. I pointed out that the town ones looked, yeah.
You gonna build a cemetery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, that, nobody gets out of drainage assessments. And that's-
Even the ones that's buried.
Yeah, yeah.
They're just not the ones writing the check.
Yeah, they just don't,
They don't-
they don't complain much.
No.
Why they had to keep coming to the hearing?
Could be their heirs, somebody, but they're,
Yeah.
but, no.
Well,
We gonna have any problems with the town of Thor, like we did in Gilmore?
I don't think so,
Not
it's
that
just
much.
not that much money. $609. I mean, it's over 500, so they could put it on a 10-year plan
Yeah,
if they wanted to, and
right.
pay.
it wasn't like they didn't know we were doing it.
This way?
It wasn't like they didn't know
Oh,
we were
no,
doing
that's
it.
very true, yeah. You can see the excavator from town at times.
Yeah.
So we're at,
I'll make a motion to accept the reclassification report
We have a
for
motion
DD number 3.
to accept the
Should we set
Re-
the time?
reclass. Should we?
what's that?
We don't need a time to accept it for the hearing, we do. I'm just making...
We just have to accept it before we set the
Accept it as a
hearing.
report.
Okay.
So we have a motion
Second?
and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of accepting number 3,
Aye?
Aye.
opposed, same, motion carried.
My question would be, we have on June 11th, 9:15, we have the annexation hearing on DD number 3. Would we have the reclassification hearing after that, because we pushed our number 2s right up about to that point? We have time if we set the reclassification hearing for number 3 at 9:30. You got that down from last week where we're...
We have 3
That works.
at 9:15 and 3-47 at 9:45.
So I would make a motion, if we can put in the date and time for the reclassification on DD number 3 for 9:30 a.m., June 11th.
Just a possibility, annexation hearing's gonna take no time at all. I'm wondering about,
Wanna push it 9:25?
yeah, 9:20 or 9:25.
Let's go, you think we can get done with annexation in 5 minutes?
Well, I think so. 1-minute explanation and a little time to object if they want.
Much on that one, no.
No.
Well, I would rescind that, and let's push that to 9:20 a.m., June 11th, reclassification hearing for DD number 3, 9:20.
So we have a motion to slide number 3, reclassification hearing into the slot of 9:20.
I'd second Eric's motion.
We have a motion and a second. All those or any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I'm guessing the 11th wouldn't be a good day to skip.
Only if you wanna get past a lot of drainage.
Get yelled at.
Yeah.
You're gonna be here, aren't you, Trish?
That's so.
Wow.
Yeah, efficiency,
Well, a lot of stuff done that day.
yes.
Crazy part, all this work's done in the same general area of the county.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. When I started looking at that, it's like, from the map on 3, I can see,
Yeah.
from 3-47, I can see 4 on the same map.
Yes, that's great. Rick, isn't it number 3 that we just were talking about, setting all these dates and stuff? The one they still need to pick up some garbage out there?
Yep.
Physically saw that here recently. Did anything on getting their, scrap pipe and stuff and the cleanup done?
They just assured us as soon as conditions are right, which should be this week.
Well,
Um,
looks good right now.
Yeah, yes. I haven't talked to them in the last few days, but the last time we did, that's what they said.
That's-
Absolutely, as soon as
You
conditions allow.
didn't buy that for any reason, if you were asked or going a different direction, but you can see it.
That way, you can see the pipe.
Yeah. And did it pipe few rocks, was there much leveling, cleaning up?
Not much.
Not much?
Not much. Some of the landowners have taken care of it already. And as of last week, we did, had somebody dig into spoil piles, not in that one, but another job, and there's still frost out.
Oh, that I believe, but
Yeah.
as far as picking up stick,
Yeah, well,
rocks,
yeah.
pipe, the conditions are excellent for that.
Yes, absolutely, you're
So
absolutely.
you're gonna keep at 'em.
Absolutely.
You bet you-
Yep, I'll make another, I'll go call them again today.
So that- And I know we had discussion on that, but yeah,
Not be
that's,
good.
we would
Means
definitely...
you're pouring, Carl.
Okay,
And I don't have to
Can't
squeeze
put your name in the paper every time.
just like Lady Day.
Okay, that moves us over to number 4.
Or
Three.
Excuse me, 3-47, I suppose we better finish that up, or...
Thank you.
That's the one that, Rick Peterson did, 3-47. Did a good job. Very happy with their work. We spread a total of $110,000. I'm not sure how that says the cost into the job at this point. That's one we had 130 some so far.
136.
Yeah, so this will go up a little bit, but, it was a while back when I spread this and never, the oddest thing about this one is that there's Wright County land in the district, but you can see on the last page, we did not levy them, or we didn't assess them. What happens is, their water all goes into a pipe that empties basically at the outlet of 3-47, so they're really not getting any benefit from the village.
Okay.
Based on drainage attorney's opinions, they say, don't take them out of the district, but you can assign no benefit. So that's what we did with this one.
So you're saying they're at the very end of it?
Very
This is
end
the complete
outlet.
very end of it?
Yes, correct. So, it might be 100 feet or something, but it's just, yeah.
They didn't, like you said, there was no benefit.
Right, exactly.
60 acres out of 3,500.
Yeah, true, and, that's a good point too, it's hardly any acres compared to the overall area of the district, so. Average cost, $30-40 an acre, some in the 20s, some the teens, it varies with the soils, of course, there's such a variation in benefits, so. Same process as the others, we filed the annexation report last week, and you set a hearing for that. We filed the reclass hearing now, and, asking for that to be accepted, hearing set. Good thing with the ditch projects, it's not that much per acre.
No.
So,
So again, we have to accept the reclassification report.
yep,
Yes, sir.
Make a motion to accept reclassification report for DD
Motion.
number 3-47, Humboldt Wright.
I will second Eric's.
We have a motion and a second to accept the reclassification for 3-47. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Now we need to set the hearing, and I'm only assuming that being as we've been doing really good at sliding this.
Yep. Well, we have on the docket already at 9:45 on June 11th, the annexation hearing for the same district.
So...
Where does this fall in regards to before or after the annexation hearing?
Right after the annexation.
Right after the annexation hearing.
The annexation hearing should be short.
How about
Like-
10 o'clock?
9:46.
Well-
No, not that long.
9:50.
9:55?
How about 10?
Oh, you wanna go 10?
Can we?
Yes. I
have the notices already.
Ten.
Oh, now it's starting to come clear.
Okay, 10 o'clock,
For the,
for the
Reclass-
reclassification hearing on DD number 3-47 Humboldt Right, 10 o'clock.
We have a motion for 10 o'clock on the June 11th for the reclass 3-47. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
And a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries. You know, if I lose this smoke, somebody's gonna look at this and think there's a kid drawing in this, 'cause the times just make no sense.
Get a pencil.
yeah.
You can erase it.
Oh,
I'm in the
mercy.
office, I always use a pencil.
Yeah.
This is the last paperwork I'll give you today, I think.
Promise?
I better not promise, we'll come up with something yet.
Hopefully we don't have anything else on June 11th. Pretty much the whole day is devoted to this drainage.
Yeah, everybody be planting corn that day.
No, we'll all be done on vacation,
Yeah.
with everything by June 11th.
Okay, this is drainage district number 4. This is the one, just so you know, they just finished up the digging last week, and they're gonna be working on the pipe installations this week. We wanna add some pipe downstream, that's the one where we went out and got measurements and locations. But this contractor has some contracts he's gotta finish before he does that extra pipe work, so that'll have to come later. But that's not part of the contract, that's over and above the contract, so. This is, I don't know, I wouldn't call it deceiving necessarily, but not very much of the project was the open ditch, main open ditch.
That's, I was looking at that, and
I
I thought,
know.
what the heck?
I know, because there's the main open ditch, and that's what you have in front of you, and that was mostly just digging, not much pipe work. And then you have lat 2, which goes to the southeast by Woodlands, lat 4 that goes up towards Hardy, am I thinking right? That's right, Tom? Yeah.
Mhm.
And 5 then goes north, east, and then southeast, and then east again under the road with the tile. And 6 is a piece that is up in the Hardy area also, so. This is probably a good thing this is the last one on the schedule as far as setting a hearing, because this one will take some explanation. Because I have broken out the total cost for each, for the main, and that's what you see here, total cost for each of those laterals, and spread those costs to give the landowner something to look at the hearing. Because some of those are $100 an acre or whatever, especially where the tile is. At the upper end of lat 5, there's a tile that goes east across the road, across the gravel road. That one is fairly expensive because there isn't that many acres paying for it.
That's not included in here?
No, that's a separate section of the report.
When does that come? I mean,
Yeah.
when are we getting that in? I mean,
Well, I can make copies
is
of
this
that.
gonna be all done at the same day?
Yes,
Okay.
yep, and I can give you copies of the breakout sheets that I did, for those others. It's just a matter that it's gonna be a lot to explain
Well,
to the
can,
landowners, but I should give it to you guys.
well, that would be additional
Yeah.
breakouts such as this.
Yeah.
How many more?
4 more.
4 more.
Yep,
There's that
It's
many,
all part of
there's that
the-
many laterals on that ditch, huh?
yes.
Wow.
Yeah, I know what it goes, like you said, described, it's there, here, there, and over this way, and,
Yep,
and it's all done,
it's all done. The digging's all done. They have to do some pipe work yet.
okay?
Outlet repairs,
Right,
they have to do that yet.
Okay, but this is just where we're at here, reclassification.
Yes,
So those other reports are gonna be in conjunction with this.
yes, and they are all part of the report submitted already.
Okay,
by-
of
by the
four,
commissioners,
number four,
Of number 4.
okay.
It's just a matter of giving you a breakdown of what those costs might be on each of those, which we you don't submit the report with dollars in it, because you don't know what the final dollars are gonna be. We give dollars for worksheets, so you can have an idea and compare them. But the report itself does not have the dollars in it. But I have taken each of these laterals and figured out how much cost is probably gonna be spread, to get a better idea.
Okay.
Part of the reason I did that already is, Worklands were asking about their approximate costs.
Mhm.
So they're considering asking that the main be cleaned out downstream. And just so you guys know, I quickly estimated what that might cost, and I figured about $12 an acre if they want to clean out everything downstream in 4. So, it wasn't part of the contract, it wasn't petitioned for, but the main open ditch, Lat 2, 4, 5, and 6 were all part of the petition and part of the, so.
So is that the one that runs over from, like, northwest side of their house and then goes off?
Yeah.
It's the one that Rasmussen's have the pipe that
Yeah.
through the ditch downstream that's gotta be replaced.
Yes.
It'll be
That's a
over
good
on the other-
description.
the other
Yeah,
side.
they're on the south side of the gravel road, the ditch is on the north side, and they're on lateral 2, actually. And then if you follow lateral 2 where it goes to the northwest, that goes into the main ditch. And the main ditch is all you're seeing right here, so.
So as far as accepting reports, are we accepting all of those reports then?
Yes.
Even though we don't physically have them in front of us? And then
They've been presented.
Oh.
I mean, yeah, they're submitted, have been.
right, I mean, we just don't have a copy in front of us, but,
Right.
so we're talking District 4, which this all is part of.
Yes,
So first of all, we have to accept the reports.
Yes.
We're accepting all of them.
yes.
And then when we set the hearing, we're setting the hearing for all of them.
Yes, correct. That is correct.
And that's why he said, because of this
Yeah.
explanation, why we need some time. We have the annexation hearing
10:15.
at 10:15. Where does the reclassification hearing normally fall, after annexation?
Yes, typically, yes, so, because we have the people that are being annexed in the reclassification report, they're included.
Right, in all these reports.
Yep.
There again, I
Will
know,
that be a long process in the annexation?
No, there's not that many parcels, it's
So
the
you're
same.
looking at 10 minutes?
Yeah, probably.
You could do it at 10:25, 10:30?
certainly 10:30, correct?
Yeah, easily 10:30.
Well, to follow protocol, first of all, I will make a motion to accept the reclassification reports, inclusive for DD number 4.
We have a motion to accept that report for number 4,
Oh, second.
and a second,
All inclusive.
with an all-inclusive thrown in.
All the
Do we get all of them?
laterals, all them laterals.
Yeah.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, we have accepted them.
Now that we have that done, is there an objection to setting the reclassification hearing for the same District number 4 at 10:30, or is 10:25 better?
I'm thinking 10:30 because...
Let's go at 10:30, 10:30 a.m.,
It's second to me.
June 11th.
We have 10:30 time for the reclass hearing on the 11th of June. Motion and a second, any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Pose same sign, 10:30 it is.
Doesn't hurt to delay that a little more than the others, because there's a chance we could fall behind a little. Some of these up there.
So,
right.
We'll be...
We'll do the best we can.
There you go, exactly, yeah, we'll do.
Now, one other question, now that we got the protocol set and the dates and the times, what did you say, something about additional clean out at the very end of this ditch, I
The
take it?
main.
The main?
Oh, before?
Number 4, yes.
Actually, when we did the investigation for the pipe work downstream from the contract area, we found that there's silt in that whole ditch from where we stopped downstream to the outlet. So it'd be a great project to clean that out, but that was over and above what was bid. So the original thought was that there'd just be islands and things that would help a lot.
Just do it on a work order basis.
Yeah, it would help some, but from what we've walked in that area, we feel there's significant silt in the whole thing.
And there's at least 2 miles probably.
Yes.
Oh, that's been it's pretty good
Maybe
distance.
3.
It's
Is it-
way
it's-
further than I would have envisioned.
It's distance, okay.
Yeah. And that's what I looked at when Worklands were asking about costs, on what I thought it would take to clean out the balance of the main ditch.
What's the balance amount? We can go up to what, 20,000?
50
now.
50?
Yeah.
50.
So,
Would that cover that?
I think I can tell you if I look at the area, because $12 an acre is what I was.
Because, I mean, if we clean it out as a work order, it's a lot cheaper
Oh, yeah.
than
I'm just trying to get my mind around, project is its own project, but this is the end of this same district.
Would this be one of those that you could do like in the middle of the summer after the crops are going, or would you wait and do it in the fall, or?
there's a lot of pipes that need to be worked
That's
in this.
what I
Yeah.
was wondering,
There is.
especially when the grass starts coming along there, and then they're harder to see, and then you got more of a chance to hit. How many acres did you come up with?
6,400, so based on $12 an acre, that'd be over 70,000.
Do half of it one time, half of it
Well, that's, yeah, technically, you're not supposed to split up a project, but the idea here would be, let's do the next part and see what that does for you. Make it a project, as far as hiring someone. Let's see if anybody comes back with a request, and then we can talk about it and decide how you wanna handle it.
Got a question too, why wasn't this looked at from the initial, request of all this?
The general appearance...
If you're out and looked at it, the appearance didn't look bad.
There you go.
From the Y, it was bad, going upstream.
Yes.
Everything that's been done,
Everything's been done was really
is
bad.
needed to be.
Yeah.
And I was surprised the other part even needs to be cleaned. I thought that
Well,
street
we
looked like
haven't,
it's
we
running
haven't
pretty good.
physically measured the silt, so that would be, if there's a petition that comes in, that's one of the things we should do right away before it goes any further. How much silt is there? Is there just a foot or so that you could just do hourly, or is it more significant than that?
But, and also you gotta look at, here you cleaned the upper end, seems kinda foolish not to clean the lower end, 'cause then the upper end will silt back in quicker.
Yeah.
Right.
If it's truly impeding the
Yeah,
flow from all this clean out, it's just
Mhm.
creating a slight dam effect.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Does all that business of the lower end clean out, or however that may transpire, have any effect on what we're doing here as far as getting this taken care of?
No, this can all be taken care of.
This will be a done
Yeah.
deal, that will be if it does move forward, separate. That's
There you
not
go.
gonna come back on where we are right now.
No. That
But,
would just be,
but these people here will have to pay again.
yeah,
Is it
yeah.
just basically the same,
If you look at the main tile people, it'd be the same thing.
to be the main tile?
Yeah.
It would have nothing to do with the laterals up there.
Right. Not
It'd be
at all.
right here.
The people
that-
in the laterals
Laterals are all on here,
There you go.
all the laterals, all the, everybody in that drainage district is on the sheet.
So it basically, if you take the sheet and you add the 2 to 3 mile clean out,
Yeah.
you're talking about the same people.
Same people,
The
yeah.
classification will change though?
It depends on how the commissioners wanna look at it. Not necessarily,
Okay.
since it's a repair. If it was an improvement, it would probably change how things.
What's our dollar limit on repair?
50,000.
50.
Mhm. You can do quite a bit, but,
And where's this pipe thing that you've alluded to that's a concern?
Well, there's multiple pipes that are through the bank, or just pipes that go on the end of tiles that are
Right.
bent over, buried in silt.
That are in this
That are in the
other part,
code.
not
Right.
that's been done.
No,
That's all
right.
done.
right,
It's so it's a clean out potential and the pipe
Yeah.
repair potential at the end of the ditch.
correct, yes, correct, very good.
There again, we need to really take a really hard look at things before these big projects are started. In my opinion, this should have been included in this project.
It would have been better overall.
Yes,
Yes. And that's part of the discussion we'll have with each of these.
yes,
How far do you take it?
yep.
So.
But when they only petition for their specific part, do you add to
Well,
it? That's,
and drainage attorneys differ on how they look at that.
I know.
Some say it's a wide open slate for the engineer to investigate whatever he needs to based on the petition getting them started.
I got a question. Can you break this clean out into clean out and then pipe repair?
Yes,
So
There you go.
two separate work orders, cut the
Yes.
cost in half. 'Cause a lot of the costs can be the pipe repair.
yes.
Yes.
Yes,
Good
correct.
point, Rick.
We could probably,
Clean out maintenance.
we could
Yes.
probably do it that way and,
Yes,
But
Good point.
money, like you said earlier, money-wise, it makes no sense to have it cleaned above and not to go to the bottom.
if there is an
We're gonna
impediment in it.
Impede it, yeah.
I really, when you, just doing a road survey, when you drive by it, it looks like it's moving pretty good downstream. But
that's why,
It-
the furthest we might get with it is just doing the field work and reporting back to you guys, if there's a petition.
Is there a possibility, because we're talking about this, like you said, 'cause you haven't ever done a elevation check, silt depth stuff, and you
No.
may end up doing that. Is there a possibility that it just falls back to pipe repair?
Yes.
That's a work
Good.
order.
I've had several farmers request pipe repair.
Pipe repair, and no clean out,
Yeah, just repair pipes.
just like pipe,
Yeah.
which would be a work order.
And we sent a letter out to everybody along that stretch of ditch asking who knew of pipe, and there's only one or two that responded, but they gave us pretty good locations on them, so,
Well, it sounds like something we're following up on,
yes,
both directions, pipe and ditch.
yes,
Yeah.
correct.
And there again, I feel for these folks if it moves forward, and granted, I think we could make it into a work order situation, but they're still gonna pay for the work order.
Yeah.
And they're gonna just pay this levy now when everything gets put out. And I don't know, maybe folks in this district, they understand that, oh, I got this year, and I'm gonna pay this next year, kind of type deal. Or did they say, why in the heck didn't you just do it all at once, and it's done?
There'll be some of both said.
Yeah.
But, yeah. Again, part of the early discussion should be include the limits of the job.
Exactly. So, anyway, I think we got where we're at squared away, and good
Yeah, yeah.
discussion on what possibly could happen.
I got one thing for you.
Yeah,
I've heard on that 347, we're getting some slough off down in that, where that high bank is in Wright County.
yep, Trish called me, we're gonna look at that this week
Okay.
down here, and, see what we can do with it.
Okay.
I'm hoping they can reach it okay. Part of that, they couldn't reach very well.
Yeah.
But we will definitely get a look at that, hopefully early in the week, get something figured out.
I would like you to make a couple of phone calls also on our driveway crossings that we're gonna be moving first thing this spring. I visited with John a couple of times, and he's called over to Eagle for, well, they are, busy with an addition over at, AGP. So I said, well, that's really not our issue. They promised you that they would do that first thing for their driveway.
That was Lund.
Mhm. So we need to make sure that all of a sudden, because we're gonna have a crop
Yep,
that we're worried about, and then all of a sudden, well, we don't wanna tear it up, so then our first thing this spring, and I visited with, Jim Rasmussen on it, and he said, well, if I can't do it, 'cause he said, I have a machine, if I can't do it, I just hire it out. But that still doesn't get us any closer to being done.
okay, I'll try and make calls today.
Well, I just think that we need to keep pushing, 'cause if it gets to 80 degrees today, and then we get 3 days of rain, and then all of a sudden our ditches are coming up, and then we can't pull them because they're so full we can't do it, and then all of a sudden it's July and corn's pasture waste, and we don't wanna destroy the crop, and here we are.
Yep, I will.
A year later, and we
July
still didn't get
quantity.
it done.
Above your waist.
It will be.
Yeah,
Don't, you have little faith. We'll be done planting by Memorial Day. I'm talking beans as well, and it'll be a wonderful growing season.
It will.
yeah. These hybrids.
It's not how you start, it's how you finish.
Yeah.
Well, obviously, I wanna get started, but we're not too far off from a year ago, believe it or not.
It's not a disaster yet.
It's not a disaster, no. We don't need to go...
My point, we're still trying to move the last couple of years of corn, so we've got plenty of
The hauling part of it is you haven't got rid of 2 years ago for some guys. We got anything else? 'Cause I just want...
Just 2 or 3.
No, go, you go.
Okay. DD 35 Branch C is the one north of town, Val Erickson. Harlan?
Harlan?
Yes. We've stayed in constant contact with the contractor. They're gonna start bringing more pipe in this week. They may not start for a little time yet, they're guaranteed they'd start in
35
less than a
Branch
month. They tried to come last Wednesday and close that egg drainage well.
That was the question.
Yeah, that was the...
It was so wet, they left without doing it. When I talked to the contractor Friday, he was gonna get a hold of his sub and see which day this week he was gonna be there to do that, so.
What's our date for?
April 29th.
15th,
Yeah,
I think,
that's what I
actually.
wondered.
What was it?
Yeah, I think. I looked.
April
Well,
15th?
Yeah,
We had it so that they could get it done
They
and
get
get
their
the
seed
yell
corn
out of
in
there
for-
for the seed corn,
Yeah.
but I think the seed corn has been pushed back and, if we check with Harlan, I'm sure he'd know when they're
coming in.
tentative.
yeah. And I will call the contractor again today as far as their timing, because he was gonna check with his sub to take care of that. Like I say, we've stayed in constant contact with him, because that was a big concern.
Very big, and, yeah, the reason it's not done is because of weather.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But, yeah, that seed corn thing, their planning protocol is based on heat units, and
Yeah, they don't look at the weather outside.
not very often. They call up the farmer and say, you have to plant, and their field could be literally underwater.
Yeah, they say plant.
It doesn't really work very good underwater, but they have different thought processes. So, yes, you wanna get that done
yes.
for the sake of that ag well closure.
Yep, I'll call him again today. I checked with him Friday. He was gonna try and get his...
So all they have to do there is just physically close that. There's no tiling involved or anything.
There's one tile comes into that structure.
Right.
And they'll have to connect it over to the existing 15-inch. And
But there's one there to connect it to.
Yes.
So they don't have to go put in new tile.
No, there's probably 20 feet or so, 25 feet of tile they have to put in to make the connection.
Okay.
Remove the structure, probably, I don't remember if we made him haul it off, I'd have to look at my notes. Connect the tile, get everything backfilled and smoothed out, so.
Now that needs, yeah,
It's gotta happen.
it's supposed to be done, but we know why, but yes,
Yeah.
it still needs to be
If
done.
we have 3 days of rain, they aren't gonna bring on a whole bunch of pipe either.
No,
Because they
no,
got a whole bunch of pipe sitting down by that dredge ditch that they still gotta move out into that field that they offloaded when it was too wet this spring.
okay, yeah,
So it'll be interesting to see because they're gonna pack
yeah.
that ground pretty good running across there, back and forth with the loader.
Absolutely, yes. Told you about...
They earn their $1,100 an acre for the compaction.
Yes, that's right. I was just gonna tell you, we talked about, working downstream in districts, as far as the right to do that. I told you I was gonna, they do it code section, there it is. 468.146 talks about your right to work downstream in the drainage district if you have to do something with the outlet.
I mean, outside of the drainage district.
Outside of the drainage district, yes. When an improved outlet cannot be obtained except through lands downstream from the district boundary, the board shall have the power to purchase a right-of-way to construct and maintain such outlets and to pay all necessary costs out of the district funds. So it doesn't have a distance or anything.
Oh, don't have a distance listed.
No, there's always like this 200 feet.
Yeah, I always thought it was like
Yeah.
so many feet.
Yeah, no, it gives you the right, you have to pay something for the right of way, but it's very little, because it's usually already an open ditch, and I can't remember what the cost we've been using for that, it's just a few $100 an acre, because it's a ditch, and you can't do anything with it, so, you don't pay much for it. So, we wanna keep that in mind on some of these where we're not happy with the outlet.
Well, I think of that being where drainage districts keep going along, but the district ends as a ditch and turns into a creek.
Yes.
Would that apply?
Yes.
You'd need
Yes.
to purchase right of way along the creek then?
That's right,
So you-
correct,
So you have
Yeah.
access to work.
Yep.
yes. Bryan County's just going through this right now with one.
So it is doable.
It's doable.
So if we run into something, ditch, creek, whatever, that falls
Uh,
outside the
We
district.
probably need to apply, in the situation like you're describing, we probably need to submit that joint application that goes to the Army Corps, Sovereign Lands of DNR, floodplains of DNR.
Well, that sounds awful, all
Well,
three of those.
I know.
That doesn't sound
I
good.
know.
Don't say the railroad.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Don't say the railroad.
The only way to make it worse was include railroad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's some
But
of
no.
those names, you probably got a 50/50 shot at not getting a reply within a month or two.
Yeah, no kidding.
We just did one for Palo Alto County a couple, 3 weeks ago. The form doesn't take that long, but the
The response
process-
time is
Yeah,
awful.
can be awful. So, if you come up with a situation, we should look at it and maybe do the application before you decide for sure what to do.
We might wanna do that on that joint district
The
in
north one,
the three county, and Trish
I think that,
decided that our county is the number one county.
Oh, we are?
yeah.
Pretty sure you are,
How did we get that?
Lucky.
Don't it go by acres?
typically.
Generally
But
happens. I don't think there's much for the other counties.
No, I don't think, I think even by acres, you're stuck.
It's just kind of a little.
Yeah.
You're familiar with that area.
Yeah,
Correct me-
I am, we only got a mile of that ditch, and they got 2 miles of the ditch, or a mile and a half
I
at
think it cuts
least.
off the corner of the county though, I mean, I think it's a relatively small area to the north.
Darn it.
I would
No.
think that, use that as a prime example of potentially checking on, because that ends as a district and turns into a creek. The water
Yeah,
goes the same place.
the problem we have is there's beaver dams in that creek like you can't believe.
Yeah, I've heard that from somebody here.
And they're very, very good beavers.
Yeah.
Isn't that,
Very
it's amazing.
Yeah, we've taken the dam out before years in the past,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they put it right back.
I believe it, absolutely.
I
No,
think
it sounds like a great-
There's, sometimes I think we're just wasting our time, because they're gonna put it back in. Because there's so much timber along that thing that they have a lot of building material.
Mhm, mhm.
And where the beavers got building material, they build
They'll
dams.
be there, absolutely. I don't know, you've got somebody you've used for trapping, don't you? Yeah.
Yes, we have a bounty on beavers in drainage districts.
Mhm.
So we have guys that are good at removing said beavers out of drainage districts.
Mhm.
But they're hesitant, because beavers per se aren't really worth much, like any
Right.
fur-bearing animal these days.
Right,
They aren't very incentivized to go trap them out of the creek area,
Right.
because there's a couple bucks.
Hardly worth their
Yeah,
time.
it's hardly worth it, but if we can do something like this, then we can include the trapping out of and the
Yeah.
dam removable of. And when they trap them, there's one thing about it, if they get after it, and they do, and remove them, yeah, there's possible they come back, 'cause it's a good beaver location. But we have a fighting chance if we
Yes.
can get into that area, remove the beavers, remove the dam, because
Yeah, 'cause if you don't get rid of the beavers taking the dam
you could take the dam out every day, literally.
that's about right.
Build it back every night.
Yeah, we've seen that.
But-
It's amazing.
We also have pictures of that up in the drainage district, tri-county drainage district, that ditch is starting to look very suspect,
Mhm.
the actual drainage ditch.
Yeah,
part
the
of it.
ditch is, a lot of silt in that ditch.
Oh, yeah.
So we better probably start exploring this thing you just researched
Yes,
downstream, if you will.
yes, I think that'd be money well spent.
We better explore that prior to thinking about clean out and talking to the other
Yeah.
counties. Because otherwise, we're just gonna clean it out, and it's gonna be worse than the one that we talked about at, number 4, correct?
Yes,
That's, we've just already set ourselves up for that. We
yes. Well, and
don't,
if you do
keep
this
the outlet
right-of-way
going.
thing downstream, you'll absolutely have the right to do the work there. I mean,
Yeah,
no question.
you got the right to go and take the dams out.
Yes,
Maybe we need a maintenance policy on those outlets like that, like we do with the brush and weed control. It's on a 3-year rotation type thing.
as far as...
Have a beaver trapping
Oh,
thing.
if you have areas highly susceptible to the beaver activity.
once it's legality-wise, that it's part of the drainage district, or we annexed it, or whatever you wanna call it, and we can tell them, they'll keep the beavers out of there. But,
Okay.
there again, it's a incentive, that's why there's a bounty, it's an incentive.
Yeah, really, they actually do it for the more enjoyment of it.
They do, but you're a little more enjoyable if you're gonna get $50 instead of $5.
Yeah.
It's really, I mean, they do, they don't do it, 'cause even at $50 for 3-4 beavers, aren't gonna get rich over it.
No.
My
But-
brother did trapping in high school on the marsh at Clear Lake, loved it,
Yep.
just loved it.
They do, they just,
Aw.
at certain times, they do, but, you know, that incentive is enough to make it just a little bit more enjoyable, and they go out and they do it. Yeah, they do really like to trap beavers.
Yeah.
They got paid $50 and I have to go.
Yeah. They don't like it that much, maybe.
Right now, I don't wanna have the paper put in there that we don't like our beaver up here. Just for the simple fact that it's, I mean, it's always, they're always been here, they're always gonna be, and that's what they're naturally supposed to do is,
We prefer they do it somewhere out of a drainage district ditch.
yeah. Well, if the river's too wide, so they don't wanna, and that's where they find them creeks, and
They like them.
this time of year when it's coming in, the water's coming in, that's,
Beaver lives matter.
Don't start that petition, because that's gonna go the wrong way in a hurry.
Oh,
You
they're-
don't think that trees in drainage districts don't match
No.
beavers in drainage districts?
No,
don't match.
no.
all right.
Can I, this is just a question, being you're here and Trish is
Yeah,
here,
yeah.
and it does actually go back to our original number 2, district, because we're working on that. I had a landowner that wanted to know if she could get a total approximate cost of where she would end up, as far as what she would owe, on number 2. It's Louise Piper.
Yeah,
And she understands that we're still, obviously, working through this, but can she get a pretty close idea of what her total levy will be
yes.
in, August, September of this year?
Yes.
And then she also, if you notice, does have some damages.
Yes, that's what I was gonna say, I grabbed that too.
So is she, I gotta ask, are the damages just taken off of her levy, or are they paid separately?
Done separately, I think.
Yeah,
So you
they
have
are.
a system you can follow, that
Right.
this man...
Here's the levy, and here's your damages.
Yes.
Here's the check.
Trish, is it, can you get those figures and send those to Louise, or give them to me, and I will get them to her?
Sure.
So, just within, are we pretty close, Rick, to that would be the
Oh,
actual?
yeah, we're
Cost?
quite close.
We're close enough that-
I'll verify with Trish
You
as
just
far as
run,
the
do
total.
the math on her.
Is that, I mean, I'm just asking if those numbers are, if you added them up, or, and she realizes it's not to the dollar,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
she's just wants to know ahead of time where she's gonna be.
Trish and I will look at if our 90,000 is okay or not, that we spread.
Yeah.
And that'd be the only factor. And then we can spread a different number if necessary, and then get the totals. And
If you could get that, and you can see where they're coming from, they know this is coming, and they'd like to know
Mhm.
ahead of time what it's gonna be. And so that damage report that you went through with the commissioners, Rick, that should be accurate then for
Yes.
dollars, and the easement and the damages.
She gets 4,000 just for the permanent easement. And then the temporary easement's almost 6,500, but that's what she'll probably have to share with somebody.
Right, and she had,
Yeah.
just to know, they have a good relationship. We
Yeah.
talked about that, but they're an example of a good
Yes.
landlord-tenant
Very much so.
relationship. So, that would not be an issue with
No,
this.
he's been very helpful to
Right,
her,
so-
and she knows it. Yeah.
So, as far as the, who gets what and how they work it out, they'll be fine with that, but, so she just, and I think that's just fair to know ahead of time, so they can plan.
Absolutely.
So if you can get
We'll
the-
review the total number, and if it needs to
He's
be
also
adjusted, we'll do that,
And
and it'll
then,
be pretty easy.
yeah, she's
It'll
just,
be very close.
yes, and then the,
Approximate cost, you mean?
Yeah.
so, yeah, that's just a request, and I think we should
Yep.
fulfill those, it's a pretty simple one.
It is simple. Yeah, we get calls like that every once in a while.
They know it's coming, and they just like to know what is the dollar amount gonna be.
Well, I think everybody that's on that list, you'd probably be able to say that are anxiously awaiting their...
Yes, though they're not really looking forward to it, but...
I know, but you know,
they-
it's like
Yeah,
waiting for your taxes to be
Exactly.
done, just sitting there. I know it's coming, but I gotta
How much is it, what's the,
The damage.
yeah, what are the damages? That's what you say, what are the
Yeah.
damages?
Yep.
So, that was my only thing, and I thought it'd be...
We'll look at that, and, yeah, she'll have a number for you.
That's perfect, and...
Anything else? Okay,
I move we go out of drainage.
we have a motion
Now, second?
and a second to go out of drainage. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign, we're out.
I'll bring a copy of our summary of what we look at every month,
Bingo.
so you can see how we do that. Then we'll start going over that.
I think we need to.